Do either of you guys use TikTok?
Yes.
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 I do, yeah.
Not on a regular basis, but I use like Reels and stuff when I'm on Instagram.
What's the weirdest rabbit hole you've been down on TikTok or like Instagram Reels?
Probably those really messed up like food videos where people make these disgusting concoctions.
I don't know. The algorithm has thrown me some like uncomfortable curveballs. Probably white trash TikTok.
Serial killer ones.
Scrolling through van life, and we'll just go all the way through somebody's like van rebuild page.
I got really into like car cleaning TikToks. Old men building pools in the backyard.
Have you heard about the shameless clout chaser, the TikTok guy who does interviews around campus?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I work at a school paper. One of my coworkers did a article about him.
Yeah, I've actually been in one of his interviews.
What do you find most compelling about his videos?
It like the candid kind of style of it. You know, he just grabs someone.
I think it's fun to see the insight of other students on our campus, especially because there is such a different variety of us. It's fun to see people's perspectives on things.
I like the banana. He's got the banana microphone.
Do you think there's any value to getting students' voices and stories around campus?
I would say so. It just gives you like actual opinions.
Because there are so many of us, knowing that other people are going through and experiencing the same things as you is definitely comforting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we make up like pretty much the whole campus, so
I think it's nice. Like some of their stories are fun to listen to, and then also it's nice to know that I'm not alone with my issues and that a lot of other people are going through it too.
Like I said, you know, I work at the school paper, and that's a big part of what we do. Like, we try to get lots of people's opinions, write about, you know, like the little guy. And I think that's really important to get that in the TikTok format, where you just kind of grab the average Joe and ask how, you know, how his classes are going, how his life is, you know, just ask him questions about the average day and stuff like that.
Welcome back to Vol Talk, where we explore what it means to be a student at the University of Tennessee. I'm your host, Ali LaRosa. Today we're talking with shameless clout chaser, also known as Max Thompson, a senior in business analytics and marketing at the University of Tennessee. Max has over 200,000 followers on TikTok, and we want to know how he does it. Thank you for being here today, Max.
Thanks for having me. This is super cool.
Yeah, so tell us about yourself.
Okay, so I call them the stupid background questions that nobody wants to hear, but I'll say them, so hopefully people want to hear it. San Diego senior, marketing and business analytics, and I have a fear of insects. I'm absolutely terrified. Doesn't make a difference what, even bees, like honeybees, that people would think that like, oh, why would you be scared of them? Terrified. So that's, you didn't want to know that last one, but I felt obligated to share.
No, it was good to know. So how did you start your TikTok page?
Yeah, so I think I was a freshman, and again, since a senior, that was a while ago, pre-pandemic, fall semester, I got exposed to it because it really started like slightly pick up among the younger community in like early 2019 when I was a high school senior. But at that time, you were a weirdo if you used that app. You were just weird. But obviously, it's very changed now. So late 2019 is when Charli D'Amelio really took off, when, you know, people that were making stuff started doing other stuff outside of TikTok. And I saw that and I was like, dang, I would love to try. It was super easy to make videos. And the fact that one video can be shown to people that don't follow you is really powerful. So I got really into it, and I've made them ever since. It really has varied. It's not just interview stuff. That has just kind of been the recent stuff. But for probably about 2.5 years, I just made whatever I could think of.
Good. So what would you say inspired you to create them?
Yeah, nothing in particular. You know, I have a lot of opinions, and I sit around and I think a lot, and that app does a really good job of making it easy to share those opinions, whether it's comedic stuff that you think is funny or educational things. I love talking about like behavioral economics or other stuff like that, and it gives me a chance to do it to a screen, to people that I will never see for the most part, and just kind of have fun with it. It hasn't really been something that like anything in particular inspired me beyond seeing other people do it and just think, man, I would love to try and make something that people actually see. That was really powerful to me.
Yeah. So what would you say was the overall response when you first started compared to now?
Yeah, I mean, I think I probably made videos for a long time, and 99% of them failed. A couple of them very weird videos, like random topics, Starbucks, the beginning of the COVID pandemic, and one time my girlfriend and I really messed up some cookies. Those were like the three like commercial hits, and they were not related and everything else failed. So the response was, it is what it is. It's just one of those small accounts. Recently, the interview stuff, that response has been really different just because it's local and it's something like I'm only here right now with you because of the interview stuff. So that response has been incredibly unexpected. And it's been really cool that, like, again, you're making stuff that people know about.
Yeah, no, it can blow up like overnight. So
Yeah.
it's really cool. So how did you like create your name?
Yeah, it's funny. It's a Tennessee thing. The pod market, if you're unfamiliar with it, the pod market are like gas stations without the gas. So basically you got all the convenient stuff, just no gas. And we could spend our dining dollars there. And as a freshman, I worked in the pod market for both semesters until the pandemic set us all home. So I was in the Stokely pod. I worked the 6 to 9 p.m. Tuesday through Thursday, so it was dead. Because why would you come into a pod market at 7 p.m. in Stokely when you would just go to dinner? So I had a lot of downtime on my hands. And one day when I was stocking the Gatorades and the drinks and stuff like that, I was just messing around with the username. It was initially like Max Diggity was always the thing. And I'm glad it's not that because I don't
Yeah.
like it now. But that was the name at the time. And I was like, let me just try some really dumb names and just see if they're available. You know how when you change a username, you could check and see like, oh, is it available? So I was throwing stuff out there and the term clout was definitely used on the app a lot. It's obviously used now too. And I felt, and I still feel, that everybody that makes a TikTok video, they will not admit it. Nobody has the guts to admit it, but they want clout so bad. So I think for me, it was a way to say, hey, I'm being honest about it. I would love to have everybody see these videos, and I will tell you that, and I'll be straight up about it. So when it was available, I was like, yeah, I got to take that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what happened.
No, you're not wrong. Like, I completely agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But so what goes into making your videos?
Okay, so the creative process looks like you go out, you ask the questions, you get the answers. You ask very open-ended questions that allows students to talk about themselves. I should not be a factor in these videos, in my opinion. I think it should be about the students because everybody I talk to is awesome. And from there, you go home, you got the Excel spreadsheet, and I just write down every single clip. I usually get 15 to 20 clips per session. Sometimes there'll just be one answer in those clips, but sometimes there'll be 4. So you get them all listed, and then you get the question that was asked for each one. I try to do 3 to 4 questions per session, so it's not the same question repetitively. And from there, you just categorize it like, okay, these are 6 answers where we talked about fashion, and here's 5 answers where we talked about what people are happy about. How can they fit together? Is this one such a powerful story or a long story that needs to be its own separate video, or does it go well with somebody else? Is everybody talking about the Free People shorts? If so, like, let's throw them all in together.
Yeah.
Why would we do separate stuff? And then from there, you just edit. I just edit on my phone because they're 20-second videos.
Yeah.
I'm not worth Premiere Pro for that. So then you throw it on the phone, post it, and then you just kind of move on from there.
Yeah. So you said you work with Excel sheets. Is that confusing, or do you have like a certain way you do it, or do you categorize it?
Yeah, I let me first say to you and everybody else, I have no idea what I'm doing. This is not standard, or I have no clue what is actually going on. And I've just kind of learned as I've gone. So the current process now is you only need to know a few things. It's difficult to remember who said what. So if a clip is 42 seconds and they're wearing a black shirt,
Yeah.
then I'll put 42B. And then I know it's your clip. And then I'll put the question, I'll put what they did, and then from there. That's the current system. I don't know if it's been working pretty well, and it's made it very easy for me to not forget to post people or not lose clips. But I don't know if there's a better way or not, just because I don't know how anybody else does it. I've only just kind of learned as I've gone. So that's how I think about it.
Yeah. Do you get excited about the process or making these videos, or is
Yeah.
it a pain?
No, it's a blast. Well, editing is a bit tedious at times because for TikTok, they have you have so short of amount of time to convince somebody to not scroll. So all I think about is there a second where people get the opportunity to scroll? Could they see this gap? The pause that I just did right now, just now, like 2 seconds ago, that would be enough for somebody to scroll. So where can I cut those up and just have it be nothing but words, nothing but action? So that part's a bit tedious because you spend a lot of time on a 20-second clip, but it's a blast. And I definitely think there are many times where, even like when we're filming's the most fun, editing's cool or whatever, but like filming, you just talk to people. And there are definitely many times where I'll get done with a conversation and I'll just be like, hey, I cannot wait to go and edit this. Like, I cannot wait to share this with other people because it's either hilarious or really interesting, and it's a lot of fun to be able to just share that with people.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like you don't match up to the audience expectations for a video, or?
Yeah, I think there are times when I expect an opinion, when I expect the audience to think something and I'm way off base. I've gotten in a bit of trouble with, the random people on the internet when people say something they disagree with, and I didn't think it would be disagreeable, and it's unfortunate when that occurs. And there's definitely many times where I'll cut up a video and I'll be going and posting it, and I just have this thought in my head. It's like, hey man, I'm gonna post this, I'm gonna go set my phone in my bedroom, and I'm gonna go make dinner, and when I come back, this one's gonna do numbers, it's gonna do numbers, and then it doesn't, because it actually wasn't good. So I have no idea what the audience likes, and I think anybody that acts like they know what the audience likes is a liar. So I just try to make a lot of it, and hopefully something works. But it happens all the time where the videos that I don't think work will work, and then vice versa.
Do you ever feel like you choose to do what they want instead of what you want? Like, I know you have a lot of the Free People Shorts ones. Do you ever get tired of it, or?
No, I mean, I don't have any desires from it. I just want, in a single sentence, to let college students talk about college, just because I think that it's such a unique experience, but also not unique just to this school. I mean, I have two younger brothers, one's a sophomore at Baylor, and then an older sister that graduated college as well, and they have professors, they go to the dining hall, they complain about parking on campus. Parking on campus sucks everywhere. So like, if I could just let somebody at this university talk about college, maybe other people will see it and relate to it and that kind of stuff. So I don't care what people talk about. If the audience likes it, then we'll make more of it. And if students specifically want to talk about things, then let's talk about it, because it's about them.
Yeah. No, you're definitely reaching students from different places, because like people that go to Florida, they send me your TikTok and they're like, oh my God, this Tennessee guy is like interviewing. Like, yeah.
That's super cool.
So it's definitely getting out there.
That's awesome. That's the best. And it happens every once in a while where you'll meet somebody here on campus and they'll be like, hey man, so good to see you. Can I send my friend a picture of us together, because they sent me your video and they said to go find you. So I got to show them that I found you. Like, that is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And it's still something that's difficult for me to conceptualize, that like somebody from Florida knows about it. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So for the demographics parts of it, do you get paid? Or I know like they have like a TikTok like account that, or I don't know what it's really called, but you get money sometimes.
Yeah, it's a very unique system, and
Yeah.
it's something that Hank Green, actually, the very popular science guy,
Yeah.
had a very informative YouTube video on, and I could never do credit to how he explained it. But the short answer is they do have a fund. It's called the Creator Fund, and it's a
Okay.
lump sum amount of money. And every single day, they take one 365th of that money, and whatever proportion of viewership you get of that day, you get that proportion of the money. Unfortunately, what that means is if it's a small fund, or if it's a fund that doesn't grow as the app grows, then you're not getting paid for what you're really worth, maybe on other platforms. So the big reason why you see a lot of people, as soon as they get followers on TikTok, hey, go to the YouTube, it's because YouTube does a 50-50 split. So for example, the TikTok Creator Fund was at $1 billion the last time I checked, and they did about $24 billion in ad revenue. So 1/24 of the ad revenue that TikTok gets, they're given to people. On the other hand, YouTube is 50-50. Half the ad revenue goes to the creators, because it's much easier to determine who's responsible for the ad, because you can't put a 10-second ad in front of a 15-second TikTok.
Yeah.
That wouldn't work. So because of that, it definitely pays much better to be on other platforms, which is why other people do it. So yes, the short answer is there is a small amount of compensation. It's definitely enough for me to be incredibly grateful for, but it's not enough to stop going to classes or anything like
Yeah.
that. I still fully plan on doing a job and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Do you get recognized by students normally on campus, or?
I think it's really situation dependent. I
Okay.
think on certain occasions, if I'm just walking around with friends and it kind of looks like I'm not doing anything, or if I'm especially on pedestrian walkway, the main place of filming, it can definitely occur, because like context dependent clues, and they're like, oh, I know him. So
Yeah.
that'll happen, but it won't happen in places like in class, or if I'm sitting alone with headphones on eating. Like, it's very rare when
Yeah.
that happens. But I will say it's the coolest thing ever,
Yeah.
that people that I don't know know me from somewhere because of something that I've done, like something that I've made, which is really cool. So personally, I wish there's no limit of how often it could happen that would make me think, I wish this happened less. I mean, it's the coolest thing ever. So when it does happen, I'm really grateful for it.
Yeah. So what would you say is next for your page?
Well, a thing that I've given some thought lately to is, unfortunately, it's very difficult to build a platform with interviews. I mean, they work well enough to get views and people like it, and they may know who you are in Knoxville or in Florida or wherever, but but you're not going to get a platform off of interviews. If interviews were a food, they're chips. Like, you just can't live off chips, unfortunately. So what I've done, what needs to be done instead is you need to do something that's impactful in some way. Just as an example, these interviews recently hit about like 110 or 120 million views, which is awesome. So fantastic, so lucky. And they translated to about 80,000 followers. So 80,000 for 110 million views, which is about 40% of the 200K that the current platform sits right now. Most of my followers came from a fraction of the views from other stuff, from the silly baking videos and stuff like that. So hopefully what comes next is something besides interviews. I think there's a lot of more long form stuff like this right now that I'd love to be able to do with a single person, where you could just give them maybe a minute on TikTok instead of the 15 seconds that they usually have, and let them talk and maybe get a little bit of depth into the conversation, because I think that'll be much more impactful, and you're not going to get a platform unless you're impacting people's lives in some way. So hopefully that. Otherwise, other silly stuff. I mean, talking about college is always fun, but I don't really know what comes next beyond just trying to make things that people like in the free time between classes and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it seems like you like to impact people a lot. Do you think that would go into your future, like your future plans, or what do you want to do like after you graduate? And
Yeah, nothing related to this. Absolutely nothing. I do not care about this kind of stuff. Well, I do. I like it a lot. I mean, that's. I'm sure that's why you do it too. But I really like business analytics. One of the majors is very technical and math heavy, and you get to write code and that kind of stuff. I've become very passionate about, which is why I really like the Excel stuff, analyzing my own videos and how they've performed over time and stuff like that. So in an ideal world, I'd love to do something related to data, predictive model building. When you see the TikTok For You page, for example, there are data scientists that built that algorithm that determined whether or not my video should be shown to you. And I would love to be on the other side, determining an actual model of how do we predict things, or how do we show people the right stuff. So hopefully a career in that. If I ever had the chance to do something like this full time and be a comfortable human being doing so, I would definitely take advantage of it. But I think I just have too many interests to just force myself to do the TikTok stuff.
Yeah. Do you feel like with your major you have an advantage towards creating, or you have a different outlook on it?
I definitely do have a different outlook. I don't know if I have an advantage. I definitely think differently than most people, though. I mean, a big assumption, for example, is captions. Everybody that makes, especially interviews, everybody that thinks or that makes videos thinks that you need captions. They think, look, if I'm watching the video in a social setting, maybe we're out at Cane's and you throw on TikTok for 10 seconds while you're with your friends because you're bored. If you're not gonna have audio, if you can't read what's happening, you're gonna scroll. A lot of people have that mindset, and it makes sense. But with my background, I would much rather just test it. So one of the things I've been working on lately is, okay, well, let me take videos. Half of them have captions, half of them don't. Randomized controlled trial, like the boring stuff you hear in science class. Let's do that and see, does captions actually get you more views? And I've done it with about 180 or 190 interview clips so far, and the answer is no. They don't get you more views. It's not like they get you less views, but as of right now, I'm pretty confident that it makes no difference. So I think a lot of the assumptions that people make about content, I view differently, and I would rather test. And then the other thing that I definitely view very differently than most people is how often you should be posting. Many people only post once a day, once a week, 3 times a week. And I know that I don't think there's a limit. I don't think posting a lot harms you in any way if the videos are good. So I try to post 5 or 6 interviews a day. I fail because it takes too much time, unfortunately, but that's the goal. And I think most people see that and they disagree with me on it, and that's fine. But I think those are probably the 2 primary differences.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely working. You're always on the
That's
For You
super cool.
page and other people's, and yeah. So it's been really cool listening to you about your TikTok page and how you started. Is there any advice you'd want to give for people that would also want to do this?
Yeah, don't do the interviews. Don't do the interviews. Seriously, somebody asked me that, and it's unfortunate. It's like, hey man, they went to Clemson. I didn't know them, but they messaged me and they're like, hey, are interviews the move? And I responded, I was like, no, they are not the move. Don't do interviews, because again, you may get views and you may be able to do some awesome things like this that I'm incredibly grateful for. But if your goal is to build a platform, you're not gonna get a platform off interviews. So for somebody to do that, post a lot. You don't know anything, so don't assume that you know anything, and then just keep trying stuff, because I've probably failed on 25 different ideas that I all thought were gonna be really good, and then failed, and just got lucky with the interview stuff. So I think just, being as unconfident in yourself as possible, but still willing to try is definitely my way of thinking about how to make it actually work.
Yeah. So if somebody wants to get interviewed, is there like a certain time you do it, or how do you be interviewed?
Yeah, so there's two primary things. I try to film twice a week for about an hour each time, and it'll be on pedestrian walkway. Tuesdays at 10 a.m. from maybe 9:45 to 10:45, right around that range. I'm pretty consistently out there. There's not many Tuesday mornings when I'm not there. Additionally, there are sometimes times, Thursday and Friday, where I try to film one more time. Sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon. It really depends on the schedule. So if you can do Tuesdays at 10, hey, show up. Even if I'm talking to somebody, just come up and we'll do it as soon as we get done. Like, let's do an interview. If not, though, there is a link on my page. It'll take a lot of effort, but like I also will collect students' emails that really want to be interviewed, because that way I can tell them if there's a specific time, like, hey, this Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m., guys, I'll be out there. If you don't have class, you want to get interviewed, you want to stop by, it'll take 2 minutes. So if somebody really wanted to be interviewed, Tuesday at 10 a.m., or go throw your email on there, and I'll probably send an email once every few weeks or something like that.
Yeah. No, a lot of people want to get interviewed. I see lines sometimes.
Oh, there's no line. Hang on. Well, maybe there is. But I do want to clarify that, just because, unfortunately, I don't want people to think that like it's difficult to do or anything like that. There was one instance where I sent the email, and it was for a very specific time, and for some reason, like, people actually showed up, and there was a line of maybe like 8 to 9 people. But most times that doesn't happen. I try to avoid passing periods just because sometimes it can get a bit busy with passing periods, but most times there's maybe 2 or 3 people around, a couple people are thinking, and a couple people are doing it. I mean, I tell people the questions before, so you need a minute or two to think about it. So it's very like easy to make sure that everybody gets a chance to do it. It is unfortunate though when I hear that there's a line, because I don't want to be a guy that has a line for a silly TikTok thing. I mean, that just sounds insane to me. So I do want people to feel like, hey, I would love to talk to you or whoever. So don't feel like, there's a line. Or if there is, hey, just cut the line. Just cut them all. I don't know them, you don't know them, so just cut the line.
Yeah, no, you're definitely not a student union for Chick-fil-A. That line's forever.
Yeah, exactly. And it's worth doing. I would wait in a line for Chick-fil-A. But like, I would never want to make somebody wait in a line to interview, like, let me talk to you with a banana and a $10 Amazon tripod. Like, that's not worth waiting for. It's not a chicken sandwich, so.
Yeah. Is a banana how do you just buy them a lot, or?
Yeah, I live with my girlfriend, and she likes bananas, and I like bananas too, except I think I might be allergic, which is something I've really noticed lately as I continue to eat more, because I'll eat the bananas after I'm done filming, because I don't want to waste food. That's pretty not nice. So I will eat the bananas, and every time I eat them, I get the scratchiest throat. So I think I might be allergic, but nonetheless, we both like them, and we use them in smoothies a lot. So we had bananas anyways, and it just kind of worked well. So I go through quite a bit, but it's not like I'm buying bananas to interview. I'm buying bananas for my smoothies, and I happen to have a couple left over for TikTok stuff sometimes.
So how did you start that? Did you just randomly put a mic on a?
No, I can't take credit for it. A lot of other people have done similar things. Multiple people have done bananas specifically, and there's a bit of it where it's like, hey, that's funny. Why would you put a banana or a microphone on a banana? That's weird, and that part's cool. But the big reason why that nobody really thinks about is the microphone that I use, again, is a $20 mic off Amazon. It's very small. It's like very hard to hold, and if I want to get decent audio quality with just that mic, I have to put my hands this close to people's mouths, and it feels weird. I don't want to be doing this. So by putting it on a banana, it allows me to get a bit of depth away from them, but also capture good audio quality. That's the primary reason. I used a pumpkin today filming. I tried a cucumber, but you couldn't really tell it was a cucumber. We will be doing one on a watermelon at some point, because I think that would be really silly, and I like silly stuff. But I just try to use something to get a bit of distance.
Yeah. Well, thank you for talking about this and your bananas, and hopefully you get that figured out, because that would not be good if you're allergic to them.
Yeah, no, thanks for doing all this. This was really cool. I mainly ask the questions, and I'm not used to saying stuff or being asked what I think, so it's cool to share my opinion. So I really do appreciate it. This was awesome.
Yes. Well, that's all we have for you today. I'm Ala Rosa, and this is Vol Talk. See you next week for an episode.